All righty. Thanks everybody for waiting in the lobby for us. Um, the only thing I want to say before we get rolling is that this is a webinar, so it is automatically recorded and you are automatically turned to not have access to your microphone or your camera. So while Doug is talking, I will work through that and try and make sure that you all have access. But if you don't, or if you need to say something, either put it in the chat or raise your hand. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Doug.
Great. Thank you, Marcy. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Doug Nelson, State Fire Marshal. Welcome to our Certificate of Existence webinar regarding our the Century Code and the system that we run typically from August, early August, usually August 1, depending on if it's a weekend or weekday, all the way through March 1st at the absolute latest. We do try to wrap most of that up sooner, but we do hope to get in front of it, hope to get questions answered, and make sure we get as much information out there about the system and the program ahead of time so we reduce the amount of struggles during the certificate season. So with that, today I will start us off here and just give you a quick introduction of our office as part of the PowerPoint and as part of most of our lunch and learns. We try to start out that way. And then as we transition to the certificate, Marcy does a lot of this program now. And so most of the questions and most of the contact will go through her on this program. And so I will have her kind of step in and take the rest of the presentation in just a few minutes here once I kind of get through the first few things. And I do have another appointment that I have to run off here too today as well. So I apologize. I won't be around for the back half of the lunch and learn here today, but Marcy can take any questions. And if there's anything specific for me, please feel free to follow up with me by phone or email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So with that, thank you for joining us for our lunch and learn today. Just a quick introduction on our office for any of those who don't know us. We are the North Dakota State Fire Marshal's office. We have an agenda here today, which is work through the, if you want to go to the next slide, Marcy, work through the State Fire Marshal's office, just our introduction quick to ourselves, then we'll get into the Certificate of Existence program, important points, and we'll do an actual walkthrough on the back half of this as well. Marcy will be planning to sign in and kind of show you what our system looks like on each step of it and go through any questions. If you want to go to the next slide, Marcy. So our office, we do currently have 8 deputy fire marshal positions spread throughout the state. We have 2 vacancies right now. One of those is closed. The other one will still be vacant, and we'll be looking at reopening here soon. And we have Marcy Ost is our community risk reduction leader and administrative assistant in the office, and myself. So we have a small division of 10 underneath the insurance commissioner, who is John Godfried. If you want to move to the next slide, Marcy, I think I'm ready. Our role is pretty simple. It's really assistance through fire prevention. So whatever assistance we can help a fire department with through fire prevention is kind of our strength. That's our main sweet spot. That's what we look to do. If you need help with investigations, inspections, plan review, public education, that's where we want to be able to step in and help out whenever possible. Further roles, we do have specific smaller programs that are outlined in Century Code that we are involved in and have certain aspects of, but may not do as much of, such as regulating combustibles and explosives. We do adopt a fire code, fire rules, public education. We don't necessarily have a specific program for that. However, through community risk reduction, we are trying to fill that role more and more as we branch out into that. And the next couple of slides, we can just kind of cruise through. We do fire investigations as requested by local jurisdictions. Typically that involves around 100 to 120 fire investigations requested each year, split among our deputies. We do fire inspection and code enforcement. Our main legislatively assigned responsibility with these are schools and state buildings. But again, we do offer assistance as an assisting agency to local fire departments whenever they have building or a complaint or a concern in their community, we do offer to help out with that and help them identify what codes are applicable and how those can be enforced and held to this same standard across the board throughout North Dakota. With that, plan review is a good chunk of what keeps our deputy fire marshals busy on a day-to-day basis with the fire inspection stuff. Both of those are directly out of the Fire Code of North Dakota. Again, public education, we don't have a very large program, but we are trying to branch out more into that and get more information available to the fire departments to make available through public education as we can through community risk reduction. Just a few special programs that we have. The main one here that we will be talking about today is going to be the Certificate of Existence, but we do have a few other of those smaller but more defined programs that we have in Century Code. And moving on from that, that's a quick intro to our office. So today we're here to talk about the Fire Department Certificate of Existence. This is our main means of getting information from fire departments on who is out there, how big you are, who you have as volunteers, how many volunteers we have, the numbers of equipment out there, financial aspects of the fire service, and it's our main collection device for all of that different information that we can get to the legislature. This information is used by the legislature. They do ask for it. I have to report all of this information every 2 years to a interim budget committee. And they have asked for us multiple times, and something that we will be working on is to post the results of our report online and make that available at all times to anybody that is interested, just so that we are able to get that information out there transparently as possible on the fire departments that we have and be able to show what struggles are out there, where do we lack in, whether it's funding or volunteering or staffing or equipment, and be able to articulate those to the parties that need to know. Our Fire Department Certificate of Existence is under Century Code 1804. There are a number of requirements. Specifically, the big 3 to 4 sections are, though, that a fire department must have been in existence for at least 8 months to be qualified for this. Fire department must meet the minimum requirements of a public protection classification or better, 9 or below. 1 is the highest. 10 essentially is no fire protection, no rated fire protection. So a 9 is kind of that minimum level that you're providing measurable service to your community. So we do have to maintain that level to be eligible for Certificate of Existence and to be recognized by our office. Fire departments must report fires to the state fire marshal under Century Code 180106. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that there will be some big things changing over the course of this year into next, such as the National Fire Incident Reporting System, NFIRS, going away, and the National Emergency Reporting Information System NERIS coming in to replace it. So we will be transitioning where we hold our data, and we'll have more information about that, especially with blogs and lunch and learns as we get closer to our state's transition time for all of you. So just a heads up that fire reporting is changing. However, it will be the same under Century Code. We're just changing the program that we will be reporting to from our office, and that fires have to make it into from your perspective. And Certificate of Existence must be submitted by October 31st of each year. And then there are other specifics on how this program is to be carried out, including other information that we need from our office, such as financial information is required to report it, and other information that we deem necessary for our office to maintain. So one thing to specifically mention with this is this doesn't necessarily mean a fire department is a legal fire department. This is separate. This Certificate of Existence program, all it does is it is our list of certified fire departments under this Century Code that are now, if they meet this and are certified by us, are eligible for the fire insurance tax distribution. So each year in November, they start sending checks out from the 2% fire insurance tax that is I believe 2% on each premium sold within the district. They start sending those checks out. So the sooner that you get this in, the sooner that we get it reviewed and approved on our side of things, then the sooner that you're going to have that check available and sent out to your fire department or district. So just the difference between this doesn't necessarily mean that a department is legal to serve their area. That's a local regulation issue. That's a county that determines. It's either the county governing body, or if it's a city governing body, it's up to those local jurisdictions on who and how serves their district legally. This program is just for the North Dakota Insurance Tax Distribution Fund and to be certified and with us on this list. So we do have the link there to the section of Century Code if you have further questions or if you need to read further into it. Steps in the CE certificate of existence. A lot of times Marcy and I will call that COE. So just a heads up throughout this lunch and learn, you may hear COE quite a bit instead of the full certificate of existence. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Marcy to walk through the steps, update you all on what's new and coming down the road this year with the certificate of existence, and then walk you through the process one time. Thank you all very much for your participation and jumping on with us today. I'm sorry I do have to jump off early, but you're in good hands with Marcy. And so Marcy, over to you.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Okay, steps to the COE process. So and we will walk through this step by step. I'm going to go into our program and I'll show you every step of the way. But as an upper level view, you register, you get a new username and a password as an external user in the system. Then you're going to log in to your FDID, fire department, and complete the COE. So it's going to ask for your FDID. If you don't know that, I have it. These are things we can work through. You'll also, so if you go in and do your work, this B2B, last year, the link that sent a notice on to the second person was broken. We think it's fixed. I was able to verify that at one point, but I haven't been able to recreate it because of the way access is. So I think that part is fixed. So I'm hoping that you shouldn't have to deal with that this year. The auditor secretary verifies, and then the chief might have to go back in and submit but you can tell when it goes. You can always call us and check on where you are in the process. The COE gets reviewed by Doug or myself, and if there's items that don't meet the Century Code, we'll send you a letter. If there aren't no discrepancies, your COE gets approved and you're done. So it's a pretty fast process if you have all your stuff together. It's a little frustrating for some people when some of these smaller departments don't have things all in the same place. There's a lot of people that are responsible. So, but don't bang your head against the wall, always call. So this is what it looks like from the website. So you go to our website, firemarshal.nd.gov, and you can you click on the fire department and it'll take you down to fire and rescue and it says report here. Whoops, wrong spot. Okay, so this is what the sign-in page is going to look like. And like I said, I'll show you this too, but this is what the sign-in page is going to look like. If you've ever signed in here, you don't need to create a new user ID. We have some folks that create a new user ID every single year, and I think it's a miscommunication on our end that they feel like they're supposed to recreate a user ID every year. If you've ever been here, you don't have to. I can always help you with your user ID. I can see that. I can't help you with your password, but that one should be easy to reset. So if you're registering as a new user, you would create this account. We will see it and review it, verify it. If there's not some random person from your department trying to gain access or whatever, we'll take care of that and clean up the old users and we'll get you approved. Especially during certificate of existence, I check it a couple of times a day. But if there's ever a time when you feel like, I think I got missed or I'm doing this and I don't have time to wait for 2 hours for her to get around to me, give me a call or email me, whatever. But yeah, message me if you feel like we've dropped the ball somewhere. Um, Another big thing that gets stuck, we got a lot last year for whatever reason, was that if you serve another department or another fire department, it's going to ask you that. And then you have the opportunity to give the second fire department's ID number so that you can have access to both of them. So once you've logged in, you identify that you're the correct fire department, which is pretty obvious, I guess. You click on edit. A lot of folks, and I get it, um, click on certificates and it doesn't do anything. All that's going to show you is previous certificates. So if you want to see a copy of your old certificates, that's where you do it. Another place where we run into problems with this is people doing it on like a phone or something, and they can't see all the way to the right side. So that might be part of what's going on too if you're struggling to find that edit button. You can always save your progress by clicking finish later and continue later. You can get into your FDID anytime throughout this process, and always let me know if you have problems. So big stuff for this year, uh, or big stuff that we expect to see filled in, or we will ding you, is the date or the year that the fire department was established. I don't know that. I'm not going to verify it against anything. If I've had people call me and say, "Do you know when our fire department was established?" I only know what you've told me. So there's that. Um, the fire chief and other names and contacts. So there'll be a section in there, and again, we'll show you that says chiefs, assistant, secretary, treasurer. It's really helpful to have as much of that filled out as humanly possible because it never fails. I try to call somebody and I get this mailbox is filled and I don't know who to call next if there's only one number associated with them. So important things. This is also how people like NDFA and the Forest Service and DES have access to this system. This is also how they find you. ISO ratings are really important. Uh, if you don't know this, here's Dave Steibel, his number. He's the local contact for ISO. And if you ever lose track of this or want it later or whatever, don't give me a call. Fire reporting status and how. So are you reporting fires and are you doing it with one of three ways? Comments on how we can improve. We watch those and we take all of it to heart. So there's a spot in there for you to let us know what we can do and we pass them on to everybody. Financials. You need to be as detailed as possible. And if you've done this a few years, you know, if you're not, it's the system struggles. So it gets kind of picky here. So I'm going to show you that real quick. So this is the financials area. You see where I put 100 with the dollar sign in? The system doesn't like that. So that's why it's hanging up right now. It's giving me this message and it doesn't make any sense to a lot of people because that's what I've got. But it's the dollar sign. It doesn't want the dollar sign in there. So that's why it's hanging you up there. On this one, we've done warning the amount doesn't match the sum. So if you put in, you got $100 from the insurance disbursement fund, you spent $100, and then your total balance is remaining of $100. That doesn't make sense to the system. So that flustered it there. I also wanted to show you that you can use decimals. So on that second box where it says amount spent to date, 100.00, that works. That's not what's going to hang it up. So this one is done correctly. So we've got an insurance disbursement of $100. We've spent $90 to date. So we have a balance remaining of 10. That's what it's asking for. Of the remaining balance, do you have any of it committed? Uh, $5. So we're just kind of, so of the balance that's uncommitted down at the bottom, what are you planning to use it for? And again, this isn't tracking you per se. It's just kind of trying to get an idea of what the departments are working on and what they need help with so that we can tell legislators and other people your story. Uh, One thing that I've noticed is that under annual department district budget, a lot of times people will repeat what's in total insurance disbursement received. That's not what we're looking for. What we're looking for is what you expect your budget to be from your other funding sources, what your total budget is. So our rule, when we see this is submitted, so you get through all the way through this thing and you submit it, we check it. It says 3 to 4 times a week. I check it every day during COE or I there's this part in the season when I get a little backed up and it takes a little while to get through everybody's, but we're pretty consistently on it. But if you're concerned, again, never hesitate. So open it and review it. We check the fire dispatch department established is entered. We check the ISO. We check all the things that we just talked about that were really important to us and were really important to the Century Code. If all that checks out, we approve it. If there are any issues, we will write to you and let you know. Checks start coming out in November. The sooner you submit, the sooner the money comes through. And COEs need to be submitted to our office prior to October 31st. New in 2025. Again, we had the issue last year with email forwarding to the auditors or the treasurer, that being broken. I'm pretty sure it's fixed, but if you feel like it's not coming through, let me know and I will update everybody and let them know. Apparently, it's not fixed, and we'll go back to the drawing board and see if we can get the guy that's been working on that to fix it. All COEs by October 31st. We've added a field for training director contact information. This is for NDFA. This helps them keep up to date with who's contact for training. I've recently had somebody else reach out, another fire department reach out and ask if they could get all the training directors because they wanted to get contact with them. So this is something that's being asked for more and more. Added firefighter 1 and 2 check boxes to the roster. So when we go through the roster, I'll show you, but there is actually 3 new check boxes. One is if the person has had firefighter 1, firefighter 2, and if they are eligible for the firefighter license plate program. That's helping out DOT because we've we've tried a couple of different systems with DOT to help them figure out who's eligible and stuff, and this is where we've landed. We've also added nonprofit as an organization type. I think before it only had like fire department, fire protection district or something like that. And now it's got nonprofit added in there. Um, this question came up during the most recent legislative session. And so they've asked for that information. And also more information on main source of funding. So we've added things that's a whole new field that lets you tell us, do you run on grants or pancake breakfasts or how do you get things done? So never ever, I know I've said this a bunch of times, but I mean it. Don't beat your head against the wall. Don't get frustrated and lose track of this. Give me a call. And if nights or weekends work better, we'll set it up. So don't hesitate to reach out and we will walk through this. We do a lot with um, sharing screens and helping people walk through things like that. So never hesitate. So now I'm going to pull up the actual what the system actually looks like so we can walk through this thing real quick. Do we have any questions before I continue on? I know I said I was going to get you guys all access to your microphone and I never got it done. But let me know if you need anything. Raise your hand. Okay. So, about to say this is it. You guys can't see it. Here we go. All right. So now you should be looking at my screen. Sorry. Oh, nope. You should be looking at my screen, which says North Dakota Insurance Department at the top, North Dakota Fire Marshal. This is where you're going to sign in. And you kind of saw it earlier. Here's down here is where you're going to register as a new user. Here's where we're going to put, if you've already been in there. I can never remember what that, I should have written it down. There it is. Okay. So much thinking. Okay. So Hastings has been our test department forever. I'm not quite sure how that was chosen, but Hastings, if you're here, thanks. So, as we said before, if you want to look at your previous certificates, you'd click on this. And if it's going to keep scrolling like this, maybe I shouldn't have done that. So there's all your previous certificates and you can get a PDF. And then when you're ready to edit, we're going to edit. So here we go. So we've got Hastings, we've got their fire department ID, and that's one of the things, you know what, that's something else. That's one of the things when people request access to the system, if they don't know the FDID or if they guess, I can't tie them to anything. So I have to kill their request and go back to it. So if you have any questions about that, don't hesitate. Date of the organization, as we mentioned, uh, addresses, fire chief, assistant, secretary treasurer, and name of training director. There's the next one. Sorry, all my pop-ups keep coming up. This is where we're looking for as much contact information as we can get. There's very few things that are going to stop you and say you can't submit this. If you don't have an assistant, it will let you go on without entering that information. So there's not a lot of places where you're going to get really, really stuck. So this is the roster that we were talking about. So, oh, Frosty made it on there twice because I keep entering Frosty. So if you have a new person to enter, you would go in here and again, I would probably enter Frosty or um, who's firefighter. There we go. This is not a vacant position, or no, it's not a vacant position. Things like birth year and hire date are just helpful for if we can tell that our firefighters are an aging population, or if we've got a whole bunch of young users now or whatever, it's helpful for statistics wise, but it's definitely not required. Same with hire date, just a useful statistic for us, but most certainly not required. Volunteer paid, which a lot of people are. Active, yes. Firefighter one, yes. I'm going to say firefighter one is yes, and firefighter no, two is no. Are they eligible for the license plate program? Sure. And that's something that the chiefs or whoever, you're taking responsibility for saying that they are eligible. And I can't remember what all the eligibility statistics are, but it's something like how many meetings they're coming to or if they're actually attending and stuff like that. If you need information on that, let me know. We'll find it. So now you've got Indiana down here, and we've got all of their roster positions at a glance, and that's available to you too. If Frosty has left, Frosty number one left, we'll just delete eventually. So it comes back and asks you if you really want to. I do. I've got enough Frosties. And that's basically the roster thing. That part of it's not too bad. I know a lot of people get worried about the dates and things like that. If that's not readily available, move on. It's okay. Okay. So this page is where things get a little different. So the organization type was one of the things that we changed. So it used to say rural or fire department. Now nonprofit's been added. What type? Career volunteer combination. Do you meet the minimum standards of ISO 9? Doug mentioned that earlier. That's something that we need to. I've got a question. Doug mentioned earlier that's something that if you don't know, you should probably find out. Is there an option to print off the list of firefighters to go back and review with the chief? You know what? I don't know if there's an option specifically. We did ask them to add, so that would probably work. We did ask them to add a way to print this, the whole thing at the end. So you can either right click on this page and print the page, which is probably going to look messy, but you'd have it. Or at the end, you should be able to print the whole form and get that information. Or snippet. Yep. Snippet, you can make it look pretty. But if you, if you don't have the time or the patience, there's a few workarounds for it. Yeah, so find out about your ISO rating if you don't know. It's still more information about your water supply, how you're doing that, what kind of engines you have, the number of total fire department firefighters. Now this will hang up. So if you went in there and said, I have 10 firefighters and one fire chief, and then you come over here and write type in 11, it's going to say, no, you said you only had 10. So that might be somewhere where you see some issues. Number of vacant fire department fires. I think a lot of people look at this and say, I would take 15 if you had them, but um, there are some people that actually have full rosters, so that's the question. Number of total fires this year to date. This is the one we check on. So if you put in there that you had 10 fires to date, we're going to look at NFIRS and it's going to say you either, if you had any or if you had none. So if NFIRS says you had 8 fires to date and you said 10, I'm going to be okay with that because that's probably a timing issue or it could be a lot of things that we're losing. If you say you've got 10 and there's only one showing in there, I might write you an email and just say, do you know this is like this? Just, it's not a ding. It's just wants to make sure that you know what you might have a problem there. But if you say you have 10 and I go check in Evers and it says you don't have any, you're going to get a letter saying you're supposed to be doing this. So this would be an awesome time to check our website and see if it's got incidents showing for your department. And if it doesn't, let's find out what's going on there. Does your department have minimum training? That's just yes or no. It's not doing anything. It's helping NDFA to understand what's going on. And then if there's any changes to your fire protection district, if you say no, that's all you need to put. Does your organization, if you say yes, then I'm going to need backup on what that looks like so we can redo the map. Does your organization report fires? So we want to know if you're reporting, which we hope you are. If you're not, you're going to get a letter. And how you're reporting. So are you reporting directly into the federal system? Are you reporting to the Department of Forestry's ESO contract? Or do you have another third-party software that you're using that we don't have a lot of users on? And then we would love to know what kind of information that you're using from the fire marshal's office. Do you call us for code assistance or inspections, investigations? If you're working with us on CRR, we love it. And if you want to and you're not, reach out to me. And I would love to have you join that little group. I was going to say certificates, but that's not fair. Um, how can we improve? Again, we really do want to know. Please tell us. I know we've gotten things like make this system easier. We're trying, but there's always going to be some bumps on this. Um, and we have been updating as much as we can. So we do, if you can tell us specifically what part of it you don't like, that helps a lot. So this is where we were talking about the budgets. So again, if you say $100 here and you've spent 95, you have $5 left. No, just 5, thank you. And of the remaining balance of how much of it's committed, I'm going to say 5 of it. There's nothing uncommitted. And my annual budget is $500. So what's the purpose of the committed funds? Some people say we're building a new building. Some people say we're getting new bunker gear. It's whatever you're comfortable telling us is we're thrilled with. And how long do you expect that to take? So if you're saving for a new building, it's probably going to take more than 5 years, or a new truck or whatever. So this is where the new one is. Where do you get your main source of funding? So there's quite a few options. I'm not real familiar with how fire departments are funded, but hopefully there's an option in there for everybody. And if you say other, it's not going to make you type anything out. It's just it'll let you go. So this is where, since I'm the first person entering information into this, it's going to ask me to sign my name and then submit to the fire chief. And that's when there should be an email that goes to the fire chief and says it's waiting for you. That was what was broken before, and that's what we think is fixed now. So hopefully that all works. And you can always finish later. And then once the fire chief is done, that's when you should get something that says print at the bottom, and you'll be able to print that out. But that's the whole form. So do you guys have any thoughts or questions or panic? It's, I was going to show you where on the website you can see your incidents. It's all of my stuff. Byron, let's get you. There you go. Got your mic. You should have your mic if you want to unmute. Is that not working for you? Okay, Byron, I don't know if you're stuck or if it's a problem on my end or your end, but if you look toward the top of your screen, it'll say leave. Don't do that. And then share and then mic. So you want to click on the mic so it looks like it takes the line out of the middle of it, if that helps. Okay, we will try and touch base later. If you can't get out, then let me know and we'll I'll give you a call when we're done. Uh, the website, please open. Oh, that's not what you need. Here we go. So here's our website. I don't know how many of you have spent any time on our website, but we're very proud of it. We're very excited about it. And we keep building on it, hoping to make it a resource for you. For this instance, what you're going to do is go to fire department. No, sorry, you're going to go to communications and go to statistics. And that's going to take you to this page that our PIO is transitioning a lot of our stats, our monthly stats to. So that's going to be all here. There's information about how many fires and how many people are reporting and things like that. But along with that, way on the bottom on the right hand side, there's an incident report by department year to date. So if you download that latest incident, you should be able to look up your department and see how many incidents we have on record for you as of the end of June. So in the middle of June, we downloaded all, I'm sorry, not the end of June, at the end of May. So in the middle of June, we download everything up till the previous month, the end of May. And so that information should all be in there. Next week, we will do the same thing. So if you want to wait till next week, there'll be a new report up there next week. Anything else in here that's useful for this situation? We talked about where you would go to report for your certificate. It's right here. And then this is the certificate of existence presentation from last year. This we will replace it with this one. So if you want to go back and see any of it, if our PowerPoint would help you, don't hesitate to let me know. Um, what else? Anybody? Byron, if you have a second, can you put your information in the chat and I'll email you or call you, or you can do the other. No questions? Okay. Well, I can give you the last 20 minutes of your day back. I I stay until everybody's gone. So if you have any questions or you want to talk to me about something completely different, I will be here. But otherwise, that's what I've got for you. Thank you all. Don, I gave you your mic if that helps you.